What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Social City Podcast. I'm your host, Omar Foster at Old School Omar. This is my stunning wife at Aubriana, Cherie Foster at Aubi.
Full name.
Full name.
Full name.
Yeah.
I know. I love it.
Welcome. We're here. Episode 2, Season 1. This is what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. We're going to be talking about our food journey and relationship with food. We got a fun new segment that we brought some friends on to help us out with. And we've got our first guest. First guest on today's episode, some legacy members, Will Hunter Brown and Becca Margison. We'll also go into our obsession of the week and we'll close off the show with our gratitude, y'all. But first, we got to give it up to our sponsor. Sponsor for episode 2, The Good Life Chef. Andrew, our boy Andrew and Dee, they run a local company called The Good Life Chef. They've been around for about 5 years. Got a really cool story. I remember Andrew was a big high exec chef on the Strip, and he was looking to branch off and do his own thing. I was like, man, you got to do it. He came to me for advice and was kind of asking like which route or direction I think you should go. And I was like, man, just pull the trigger. You got to jump and make it happen. So they've been doing mobile food delivery for about 3 years. And they recently just opened up their brick and mortar.
That's
Round of applause for the brick and mortar. Congrats, Andrew and Dee. TheGoodLifeMealPrep.com is where you can go to order some of the tastiest fit prep meals I've ever had.
True talk. We've had our fair share of fit prep meals without a question, or meal prep in general. And we have never, and it's not just because Andrew's our friend, we have never consistently ordered meal prep from a company as long as we have The Good Life. They are the bomb.
Yeah, some of my favorite meals are that French toast sandwich they do. French toast with the sausage. They've got that lasagna for 2. It's seasonal.
Is it really for 2 though?
No, man, they playing. Andrew, why are you playing with that lasagna for 2? Like, who's splitting that lasagna in half?
I know.
Nobody.
Uriah barely even gets half of it if you have it.
Oh yeah, Uriah will smash the whole lasagna for 2 by himself. We also want to give a shout out to them for being out and involved in the community. They partner with Garden Farms Foundation, which is a nonprofit that helps gardening for kids. Then they also do farm to table and educating kids. They're just out and about in the city, doing it up.
Yeah, good people with good food. Can't beat that.
So here we go. After 14 years of being in the health and wellness space, we have heard hundreds of collective stories, conversations, and perspectives that have created so much inspiration in our own lives that we wanted to bring them beyond the 4 walls of the gym and share them on a greater platform. Our goal is to share some of our favorite personalities, stories, and perspectives that continue to inspire us. Episode 2, boo. What'd it do?
We made it.
Here we are. We made it episode 2, man.
We survived the first one.
We pulled off the Band-Aid. We published episode 1. Kind of daunting. It's not just plug 1, 2, 3 and go. You got to upload the videos, to the YouTube. You got to get on the Spotify.
My tech guy do all that. Tech guy being Omar.
Yeah, not only am I the host, but I'm the tech guy uploading all
That's
that.
right.
But how do you feel? How'd you feel after publishing episode 1?
Really good. The feedback was really overwhelming and super positive, and it was so cool because we actually had heard from some old members, people that had started with us like 14 years ago. And so it was so cool that, we'd created this with the idea that we were going to have another layer added to the gym for members of a source of education, inspiration, storytelling, things like that. But then to be reconnecting with people from 10, 12 years ago was just really, really cool. And I was saying this earlier, but I got a lot of nice feedback about my voice that made me wildly uncomfortable. But
yeah, that's
overall,
always been a thing for you. You've always been kind of had a little bit of a complex about your voice.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So beautiful, sexy,
oh,
raspy.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
Voice. I love it. I love it.
But it was good. It was really good. I was a little nervous, I think, to say the least. Just, it's always nerve-wracking putting anything out there. But like I said, I'm standing true to what I said in the first episode, that we're here to fall on our face a little bit this year. And I'm sure there's going to be some episodes that are not going to be as smooth as the first, but I'm happy we're here.
Yeah, I felt good about it, man. I got a lot of messages and just people who were fully supportive of us.
Yeah.
It just opened their eyes to a different angle as to what we do, People know us as the owners of the gym, but to dive a little bit deeper and peel a layer back and get episode 1 in the books feels good. Thank you guys so much for the outpour, the support.
Totally.
We're going to keep this rocking and rolling. For those who don't know, we're looking to film 10 episodes on season 1. Every Saturday, we're going to be in the studio, hopefully, and then drop them every Monday. So look forward to that when we're dropping new episodes. Speaking of members and 12 years, members who have been with us for 12 years, reaching out to us, showing us some love. Do you want to intro our legacy members we brought on?
Oh, man, I would be happy to. So I'm so excited that today we have 2 of our members joining us. If you know anything about the fitness industry and you know anything about owning a gym, you know that turnover is just a part of the game. So to have a member for 5 years would be exceptional. 7 years would be incredible. But we have been super, super blessed to have two of our members here today with us well over a decade. Will Brown, I remember when he first came out, this is all of us like pre-kids, just figuring it out at the park. We've gotten to be a part of his journey and watch him grow into an amazing father. He's just a well of wisdom. One of my favorite things about Will is that every year at Thanksgiving, we do a gratitude workout. At the end of the workout, we end a little bit early and everyone sits in a circle and everyone just goes around and shares what they're grateful for. We've done that, I want to say, for almost all 14 years, except for maybe one. But every year, I really look forward to what Will has to say.
Yeah,
he doesn't say much, but when he does, it is full of wisdom. And I'm just so grateful for him being so vulnerable and sharing those moments. So I'm excited for the conversation today. And then we also have one of my greatest friends, Becca. She's been with us for well over a decade. We stole her from the Pilates studio. She was I don't know how many CrossFitters they got, but we definitely stole one at least Pilates girl, and that was Becca. So she joined us well over 12 years ago as well and has become one of my greatest friends and sources of inspiration. Really has helped me along my holistic journey on healing. We'll get in a little bit about her integrative health practice that she's going to be starting. Got to be with her. She was one of our first mamas that came through the program. And so with that, just getting to share life in general with our members is so special. But when you're a coach and a business owner and there are needs that change in your community, you evolve. And so we got to walk with her through her pregnancy with both of her boys. And now all of our kids are friends. So couldn't say more about these two. But with that, I will go ahead and just welcome them to the show. Thank you guys so much for coming.
Thank you guys for coming on the show.
You made it.
Now, we know you guys have been around for a while, but this is new on the podcast. So we got to dig back and ask you guys the 3 questions. You guys got to give your name. You guys got to give something cool on the bucket list. You guys got to give us your favorite Disney classic movie. I feel like the last time we asked you guys this, it was like pre-kids, pre-family. Yeah. We were little babies back then.
Seen a lot of Disney movies since
3, 2, 1, go.
My name is Becca Margison.
Hey.
I'm Becca.
Bucket list item, well, this year to get my business going.
That's
My
right.
integrative health business. And I'm still going to go with Lion King for a Disney classic
Hakuna
movie.
Matata.
Yeah.
That's right.
You can't go wrong with that. Will, give him an intro, man.
Hi, my name is Will.
Hi,
What's
Will.
up,
I
Will?
will.
I don't think I've liked a Disney movie made since 2000.
Yeah.
I would say probably Lady and the Tramp is where I got off the
that's
Disney
a good
train.
one.
You don't hear that one too often.
And then what's a bucket list?
I don't know. I can't think of a single thing I want.
You wanna travel?
We'll circle back.
Yeah, but traveling, got kids.
It does change.
Especially one in diapers.
It's a little different.
So those are the three questions we normally ask newbies at our gym. So we figure we fire those back off since it's probably been, over 10 years since we asked you guys that. Before we get into our conversation, we got a little icebreaker, some trivia for you guys. Are you guys ready? So Aubi and I know that you guys both are into soccer because of the kids, and I know Will played soccer.
Oh.
Question number 1. If you know it, just yell it out. What does FIFA stand for?
Ball associations.
That's it. Bingo. Federation
know that.
Internacional
Oh,
de
don't tell Hudson.
Football
You just were bragging about your
Associations.
sports knowledge, too.
I know.
He's going to be so
FIFA.
disappointed.
We got 1 point
I
for
won't tell him
Will.
that.
1 point,
0
Will.
for Becca. Question number 2 is a Social City question. Dun, dun, dun. What year did we move into our current space?
2015.
Bingo!
Bingo! Ding, ding,
On the
ding.
nose. What were you thinking about?
I was pregnant.
Okay.
I had
yeah.
Hudson in 2015.
There you go.
See how we tie those things
Yeah.
together?
Jeez.
For all the marbles.
Here we go.
Championship
1 and
question. We are 1 and 1. Here's a little bit of nutrition. You guys may or may not know this.
No.
How many grams of protein are in a 6-ounce steak?
20 maybe?
20 for Will.
It's higher.
More?
Take a
There
swing.
is 7 grams of protein in 1 ounce. There's your hint.
Now it's a math question.
Yeah, now it's a math question.
42.
42.
Right.
Oh,
Our winner, Will Brown.
That's a lot.
Crush it.
That's good.
There we go.
That's why we like
Bingo.
steak in this house.
Some trivia.
That's like almost as stressful as when O makes us do the math
my
cards. So during warm-up sometimes, not to scare anyone away, but during warm-up sometimes O likes to torture us, and he'll have 2 lines of people and you have to come up, and then it's like
Flashcards.
literally like
Flashcards,
basic
yeah.
multiplication flashcards from like elementary school. And my
2 times 3, you're like, I don't know.
my test anxiety is like fully kicked in at that point. So I'm not even looking at the numbers. I'm like, I'm just going to get it wrong. I'm going to embarrass myself.
But wait, do tell them that on the box it sa's suitable for ages
Oh, it does.
5.
I'm not claiming that they're hard.
It's just the fact that you're on the spot.
A little bit of pressure.
Totally.
Can't handle it.
Yeah, I usually freeze. I usually just wait for the other person to go and look at my team and I'm like, we're doing burpees. I'm sorry. We're just going to be more warmed up. It'll be fine. It'll be just fine.
You'll
So
thank me later.
we're super grateful for you guys to be riding with us through thick and thin, through all the obstacles we've been through. Like I said, you guys were around before any of us had kids, you know?
Yeah.
Like that was just a different phase of life. I mean, back then we used to party. And it was like, what are we doing?
The big sigh.
We were just talking about that the other
Work
day.
hard, play hard. You know, that's like a part of the gym that people don't know about. They're like, wait, what? Omar used to drink? And I'm like, yeah, no, 7 years sober. Like, that was a different life, it feels like,
Yeah,
right?
totally. I mean, for us, I think we were talking about you guys last night, obviously with the podcast today, and we were just talking about how it's been so incredible to just share life with you guys and share the different moments, because it is the nature of the business of what we do that turnover is just a part of it, and people go through injuries or they move or different seasons of what they want to train, and it's been such an exceptional experience to get to walk with you guys through different seasons and get to see you guys evolve into parents and having those conversations and how our friendship has evolved over the time. And we were just saying how blessed we are that not even just to have just you two, we have a handful of members that's well over a decade, and that experience as owners is really unique to be able to get to watch somebody walk through that journey of what you're creating and then share that friendship and share those life moments and everything. But man, like, thank you guys. Like, I just seriously can't say thank you enough for just believing in us and riding with us through like every evolution as we learned our business and what worked and what didn't sometimes.
right.
And, you know, just the nature of what it's like when you're trying to create something. It's something really special, really
Yeah.
special.
Really
Trying
special.
to make me cry early on.
So before we dive into today's topic, I wanted to take a trip down memory lane and just talk about where it all started for you guys. I don't think we've ever really discussed where you guys were prior to joining our gym.
Yeah.
So what was that like before you joined with us, Will?
Like exercise-wise
Yeah.
or lifestyle?
I mean, everything. All
so
of it.
I guess I was going to a Lifetime or Life, right? Lifetime, the
Lifetime.
big bougie gym on, yeah. So I think I was going there and
Like you were doing some MMA and stuff too, right?
a little bit of jujitsu maybe, but
Okay.
I started actually at 24-hour fitness, right? Where I think you were previously, and
Yep.
talked to the dude in the polo shirt with the, all right, with the 24-hour, fitness logo on it, and he sets me down. And he's like, "So, what kind of membership you looking at?" And I'm like, I don't know, like, what do you got? He's like, "Well, how serious are you about fitness?" And I'm like, I don't like on a scale of 1 to 10, because like the implication is like, if you want to pay to go once a week, you're a little bit serious. But
Yeah.
if you want to pay for like a trainer and a full year at a time, you're really serious about fitness.
Got it,
you know?
yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, that sounds like me. Like,
Sign me
right?
up.
Yeah, because I want to look like that dude. He looks. So I'm like, yeah, I guess I better sign up for a year.
Yeah.
And there were actually some cool guys over there, some good trainers, nice guys. But so at some point I quit doing that, and I just wound up at Lifetime and men's fitness or men's health. Every
Yeah.
month they have like a big yoke dude,
Yeah.
on the cover.
And if you want to look like this guy,
yeah,
flip to this
and-
page
right.
and do these
Yeah,
workouts.
then there's an article.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, do these exercises
exactly
and you look
what
like
I
this
did.
guy. So yeah, me too. So I'm like, all right. So I'd buy the magazine, turn to the page, and it was like, do this for chest and this for back. I literally bring the magazine to the gym,
That's incredible.
set it on a bench, get after it. That's what I was doing.
So then how did you end up finding us?
Matt.
Okay.
Matt told me that there was a group working out at the park doing park workouts.
Yeah.
So I went there. I showed up there one day. It was back when you used to bring equipment, plates and bars
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it was terrible, it was an awful workout. It's like gut
Yeah, looking back
wrenching.
on it now, like
we would
we couldn't even hang
die.
doing those park
No.
workouts from back in the day. Because
Yeah.
they were 45 minutes straight.
Yeah, straight
you know?
volume.
Yeah, it was blistering, and I think I threw up the first time. And Aubrey, I remember, as I was throwing up, she's like, "Yeah,"
Shocking.
like the kid who tells Johnny to sweep the knee. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
totally.
She's like, "Yeah." I was like,
All
"Yeah,
right.
like, these people are about it. This is good." And then he told me, "Yeah, like Matt said, when they're not at the gym, they go to this place called the Compound."
Oh,
that's
we're not
what-
at the park. We go to the
Yeah.
compound.
That's right.
Mhm.
Like, so there was this
We had
fight
just
club
opened
type.
this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was like
totally.
Compound. So I went to the compound. That's when it was like in a dance studio.
Yeah.
We
We talked about that, right?
It
Yeah.
was in a dance studio.
Yep.
There was like one kind of a contraption that had some pulleys and some stacked weights or
Yep.
something like that,
Yep.
and some pull-up bars. And I just kept following you around. And I guess 10 years later, we're over
still-
on Fort Apache. Yeah, I just show up and do what I'm told. It's good.
It's the easiest way to work out.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Perfect.
man.
Becca, what was your journey like? What were you doing before? I know we talked about doing Pilates, but what was it like?
I did everything
Yeah.
before. I ran, 'cause, I love to run. I did it. I did spinning. When I lived in California, I did like a little yoga and spinning class. Like Will, I think I was sold on one of those packages where showed up and walked around with the trainer. And
Yeah, I had to sell
Told me
those
what to-
packages
yeah.
because I was
Yeah.
a trainer at.
Yeah.
So,
I actually, when I first moved to Vegas, went to a CrossFit class, but it was just like an evaluation.
Got it.
And it was a quick workout, but I can be a little competitive at times.
No, Becca.
And I don't know what I thought I had to prove to these people. I'm sitting afterwards talking to him, and he's talking to me about the membership and, pricing. And I'm like, excuse me. And I ran to the bathroom
throw up?
and I threw
oh
up.
man,
I
both of you
left.
guys threw
I
up.
left and I never went back to that place. I was so mortified.
To our benefit,
I was
though.
so
To our
mortified.
benefit.
And then right before the wedding, I ended up at Core Pilates Studio. Shout out to the Core girls.
Shout out to the
Love
core
them.
girls. The core
Love
girls
them.
are killing it
They
right
are
now.
Yes,
killing
they
it.
are.
Yes.
Shout
Great
out to
Sunday
people.
Jess.
Pilates, is that the name of their
Yes,
studio
Sunday
now?
Pilates. They're on Fort Apache. They're crushing it. If you are a
Yeah.
Pilates person, that is the spot.
I wish I had time for both because it really a great workout.
Yeah.
So you guys were sharing the studio at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'd be on my reformer, which I loved, but I was always kind of looking over like,
See, I talked about it in episode 1 how
I
we
was
had the
kinda
windows
looking
there.
over
and it was
through
like
the
a
windows,
good
like-
synergy back and forth.
because I grew up, playing sports and again, a little competitive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like I need to go check this out.
Uh-huh.
And I'd see Aubi and Omar. I'm like, who's this couple? They're so good looking. Who are these people? So one day I think I came over to you and I was like, hey, I'm interested. And I did some foundational courses with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say we did personal training in the
Yeah.
beginning, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I really wanted to learn the movements in a, quality way and like not injure myself. And so it was important to me to have that one-on-one time to learn that. And so, yeah, I went over there and
I don't think you ever went back.
no, I didn't.
Sorry, Jess.
Sorry, I love you guys. I
girls.
do, I promise. But no, I never went back. Mm-mm.
So what was it? What was your favorite thing when you got into it that just kept you coming back for more?
Yeah, because that's such a different modality than.
I think it was just you could always push yourself to that next level.
Got it.
There was with CrossFit, you could go in and you can say, I'm just going to kind of breeze through this a little bit. Or you can go in and be like, I'm going to try to go as hard as I can in this workout. And I liked that there was always something I wasn't good at. There was always something to get better at.
True that.
I remember doing double unders the first time, and it was awful. It was
Yeah.
horrible at them.
You're like, I can do
or
jump
even-
ropes. Why am I bad at
even
this?
cleans, and so
Yeah.
I was just hooked. I was like the athlete in me, and then just the people in the community. Clearly, it's worked. I'm still
Clearly
here.
it's worked.
Well, I think too, as an adult, it's so rare that we're learning new skills. Like we learn things for work or we learn things in life that are a necessity, but it's rare that we're taking the time to really like sharpen the saw in maybe one different area. And so I think sometimes we forget like learning things and like those little dopamine hits of like
Yeah.
getting a double under the first time or like getting your first pull up. Like that part of the modality of how we train is what makes it so addictive. Like we've done this a really, really long time, and there's a million things that I could still get better at. There's a million techniques that I could still work on. So for me, it's that constant chase of like 1% better in every little area of our life. And that fitness side, it's like there's always areas to be better at. Like I'm never going to be Omar in a handstand walk. Well, maybe one day, but like
Maybe.
Never
maybe.
say never.
Never say never. Maybe if I keep cold plunging, it's somehow going to make me better on my hands or something.
It just might. What do you guys think it is that has like kept you guys around all these years? Like outside of community, right?
I don't think you can separate community from the experience. I mean, community is just woven into the fabric of what we
Yeah,
do
but for those who
there.
are listening and don't know much about CrossFit, if you tell them community, it's like, all right, I don't really understand. Like, give me some depth to community. Like, as an outsider looking in, like we know community because we're in it. But how do you explain that to someone who's never done what we do?
Yeah, they've only done like a group fitness class.
Yeah, if they're just a 24-hour.
They haven't done this exactly, but most people have done something like trying to accomplish something difficult with some other people. Everyone at some point in their lives has probably been involved in a collective effort to get something done, and that feels good. I think as humans,
Yeah.
I think the humans who worked well with other people had a higher chance of survival. And so I think, they passed on those genes, and we're the beneficiaries of those genes. And so I think there's just meaningful to feel like you're embedded in something that's bigger than you, and everyone is kind of on the same page, facing the same direction, putting in some effort. It just feels good. It just feels good to be a small part of something bigger, working towards something,
Yeah.
In the suck together.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean, I think the physical exertion just takes that up a level. Decorating a float, we're preparing for homecoming, or like just any of these little kind of, collective efforts to do something. It just kind of feels good to work with other people and get something done. And then you add to it, the physical exertion, that it's difficult, and it's difficult for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's trying, and everyone's putting out. It's something, it just feels like it feels good as a human.
Yeah,
it feels
it's almost
like
instinctual. Like,
yes,
this is what we were meant to do.
It feels
We
almost
should be doing
primordial.
this.
Like, yeah, this is what our genes have prepared us to do and feel. I don't know. I think we have receptors for that kind of group effort. And I think it's like an essential nutrient,
I love that.
We're social primates,
Totally.
We're designed to work together, cooperatively, and to overcome challenges and obstacles together. Society, I think, is so atomized these days. Those opportunities seem to be few and far between. If your team is connected by email, or instant messages or something, it's just not the same as looking at
So
someone,
true.
and watching them sweat,
100%.
And taking a little bit of that motivation,
and then to see them in that physical obstacle, like go through some struggle, but all make it out in the end.
Yeah, and it makes you, I see someone really putting out, and it makes me want to contribute.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, it's inspiring. It's like, I want to add something too.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
like, I want to
Contribute.
Yeah, it's just like something like, you see someone on the side of the road with a car that's broken down, right? And it's like, it's not a strong dude, maybe it's an old person or someone obviously in need of help, and inevitably one person will pull over, get behind that car and start pushing it.
Yeah.
And then another car will will pull over, and that person will get next to the first person, right? Now there's two people pushing that car. You know what I mean?
And it feels good.
It feels good, and there's just something in us, that draws us to that sort of thing. And, it can just be, it takes what, 10, 15 seconds to, push a car out of the road into a driveway, out of traffic or something. And you don't know these people. You'll never see them again in your life.
Never see them again.
But for 10 or 15 seconds, it's
Yeah.
you and two people you've never met, right? Like helping another person, making their life a little easier, clearing the traffic. And then you just kind of share this moment of collective effort with this person.
That's one thing I always feel bad about when we're driving and someone's pulled over and like they need some help, and I'm just like, I don't have time. Do I have time? Can I stop
if we
to
have
help them out?
time, Omar will definitely flip around. We've done that a couple times.
Yeah, for sure. Because I would hate to be that person on the side of the road. I mean, it's happened to me once in the old school, right before getting home in Old Betty.
Oh, the old
Fuel
school.
or something went out, and I was like, gosh, dude, I can't go anywhere. I don't know what's wrong with my car. I don't know if these guys were homeless or not, but they like came right from the bus stop. These guys are wearing like flip-flops. The guy's flip-flops are falling off as he's pushing me. He's pushing me barefoot, and maybe pushed it 25 yards. But I was just so grateful for that, to like know that a complete stranger's in support for you,
It's in us. It's
Yeah,
within us.
it
It's our
is.
nature.
It really
You
is.
know?
What do you think, Becca?
I mean, how do I follow up after that? That's the wisdom. Community is obviously one of the first things that comes to my mind, but when you walk in to your guys' gym, it's just different. It's different. I've been in other CrossFit gyms. I've been to those gyms where the warm-up's just written up there and you warm up by yourself and no one says hi to you. And I think that you guys have created something so special where people of all walks of life, all ages, have been able to come in and for 1 hour take time for themselves in a safe place and where they feel like they're supported by a group of individuals.
Yeah.
And like you guys said in the last episode, I mean, these are people that sometimes would never even cross paths.
Yeah.
You know?
That's my favorite. That's my favorite thing is like the little
And-
melting pot that the gym is.
Yeah.
You guys embody the fact that CrossFit is for everyone.
Mm.
Other places say that, but you walk in and you don't feel that way,
Got it.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like,
No,
I
that's great
think that
feedback.
everyone's welcome there.
And that's the goal. It's like we've said that from the beginning because we've been on the other side of it, whether it was like travel or dropping in, where you drop in somewhere and no one even like talks to you. I mean, they have no problem taking your money, but no one talks to you and there's no like human connection or interaction. And I remember when I used to travel a decent amount for work, I enjoyed dropping in because I was looking for the connection. I had the fitness knowledge to go in and work out by myself in a hotel gym. I was going to other gyms dropping in because I really wanted the connection and I wanted that experience. And it's almost like a stamp in your passport, right? When you're traveling, that ability to drop in. And I had some exceptional experiences, some that were amazing that I would come home and tell Omar like, oh, we've got to take a little bit of this and try to sprinkle that into what we're doing. And then I definitely had the other side of that experience too, of like walking in and not even like the coaching or anything like that, but just the connection of the community of being like, oh man, like that was a miss. No one even like cared if I was there.
Yeah.
And I think that matters more than people think. Like you were saying, well, it's that like exchange of energy that's so addictive. And I think we do get accustomed, whether it's life or work, where everything becomes a little bit more sterile, right? Like people are uncomfortable to talk on the phone because that's too close. Like that's too intimate anymore. That's kind of the world that we're living in. And so to be able to share that pain, because there is something really bonding about like you're in the middle of a workout and it's like Saturday and you're dead and you look up, you have like 10 more minutes and you exchange a look across the room like, are we going to make it? I don't know if we're going to make it, but
Well, I'm just upset sometimes that I didn't get to finish the conversation.
Becca and I are known to be put the social in Social City for sure.
Hey, you know, we named it Social City for
That's
a
our
reason.
fault. It's our
Yeah.
fault.
It's all good.
You're right. I mean, it's the reason it's so good is because it's so hard. You know what I mean? It's like when you're killing yourself and everyone else is dying, there's no better feeling than when it's done.
Yes.
And everyone is exhausted, but everyone's flooded with endorphins, and they've just accomplished something very difficult with another group of people. There's just, you know, it's like that first couple of drinks.
Yeah.
You know, finishing the workout and letting the endorphins rush through you with, you know, people you care about and admire. It's like this, just feels good.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Yeah.
it's like we all just got high together.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Right.
You mentioned support and coming in and feeling the support. That's support not only in the gym but outside as well. You know, like to have people who are supportive of, you know, like your work life and people who are looking and searching for jobs or people who have just moved into town. They're like, hey, like I'm looking to make friends. Like that support goes further than just cheering them on. Come on, keep going the workout. It's like, hey man, is there any way we can help out with anything and serve? Like I was talking about the kids again and how many moms we've had come through the gym getting baby clothes and stuff like that. And I was like, wait a second. You should wait. Like there are tons of moms in the gym who are just looking to give
So many
away
clothes.
And dads.
And
Yes.
dads, yeah, for sure. Like I'm like, you didn't have to buy anything. I'm sure we could have outfitted your entire nursery with whatever you needed, but just support in that aspect too, you know?
yeah.
Like with all the wisdom that you ladies as moms have that you can pass down, you know?
Yeah, I think it's been such a cool thing. Like I said, like every phase of life, like getting to share those phases with people, right? Like when you think when we're kids, you tend, if you don't move, you kind of tend to go to school with the same kids for 10, 14 years, right? And in adulthood, that doesn't always happen, like a group of people. Like you're really lucky to have one or two friends for an extended period of time. The gym, for me, has almost been this like extended grade school type of experience,
Yeah.
right? Like
PE class for adults. That's what I call it.
It's like, but it's with those kinds of bonds. Like we've all been training together for over a decade, and it's almost like our class of people. And we've gone through all these different seasons together of these like long friendships of a very long time. Like from when you told us you were pregnant, I remember the first time you came over and held Hudson. I had never held a baby
True
before. I was terrified.
Omar was like,
yeah.
I don't know.
Omar
I don't know.
didn't know if we were gonna break it.
But I held him.
Yeah, you
You
did.
did.
Yeah, let
You
it be
did.
known.
And that little, I remember that. Uriah
has
full
that
circle.
onesie, yeah.
That onesie.
And then most of Uriah's clothes came from Becca.
Yeah.
A lot of like the parenting wisdom that I've gotten has come from the gym on like, hey, what's worked, what doesn't, what you wish you would have known, like marriage advice, all of that. And it's kind of a unique space because as an adult, how often, unless you're working at a company, I guess that might be comparable, but you're probably not talking about the inappropriate things that get talked about at the gym. But it's kind of that unique dynamic, right? Like we have this group of people that have been with us for over a decade. And how often do you really, if you're not like very close social friends, do you get to kind of be in that space with people for that long, you know?
Yeah.
It's a cool experience.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and see you almost every day.
Yeah, literally. We say it all the time that people don't understand the gym sometimes or maybe the culture. And it's like, man, we spend more time with these people than we do our extended family. I mean, we're at the gym 6 days a week, most weeks, right? And we try to bounce around times or coaching times or whatnot. But it's like a lot of times you're seeing those people that you train with way more than you're seeing cousins, sisters, siblings, parents, things like that. So it really is a unique space. So if you don't know what community's about, then maybe you need to come check it out.
Come check it out, y'all.
Come check it out.
So before we get into our next discussion, we've got Obsession of the Week, y'all.
Obsession of the week.
This segment is all about our latest obsession of the week because you know anything about the Fosters, they're always on some sort of kick or challenge or new obsessions. So what do you got, boo? What's the obsession of the week?
This week, I am obsessed with Love and Co. They are a local company. You can find them at downtown Summerlin, but they have all natural essential oil, non-endocrine disruptor perfume that I am obsessed with. So if anyone is like looking for a present, like Valentine's Day is coming up, I don't know.
Essential oils.
I really love the white tea and the Bulgarian rose there. And then they also have this magnesium spray that like puts me right to sleep. I have a really hard time falling asleep. So I spray this stuff on my feet or on my chest and boom, I'm out. So they're a local company. I love their story too. It was actually the wife created this company out of necessity. Her poor husband had a terrible burn accident in 2016. And when they were in the burn center, they kept talking about the importance of lotioning these areas of his skin on his face. And everything that she was buying over the counter was just perfumed or had alcohol in it or just something that was so painful and she couldn't bear it. So she created a laboratory essentially like in her own kitchen to look at a holistic way of creating some better balms and lotions. And With Love & Co. was born. And they have, like I said, a little brick and mortar in downtown Summerlin.
Yeah.
Love them. If you're looking for a nice natural perfume, that's where it's at. That's my obsession.
Get it.
I like it.
Becca, what you got? What's the obsession of the week for you?
I guess it could be for the last few weeks, but my Aura ring that I got for
the Aura ring.
Yeah, it tracks my sleep, which I'm obsessed with tracking my sleep.
Aubi was too. There were days where we were on the Whoop, right? And
Yeah.
I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
"You're
I'm
obsessed with the
obsessed.
sleep."
I will see different things that I can do at night, like throw on a castor oil pack. Will it affect my HRV? Well, I love to look at the data and see how it affects me. I mean, even alcohol, it's crazy. It's crazy what even one drink
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
does to my sleep, to my HRV. So get yourself an Aura ring. I may have $40 off for you. Hit me up.
Hit them with the promo code. Promo code at the Gutsy Nerds. Will, what you got, man? What's the obsession of the week?
It has nothing to do with health or fitness.
It doesn't have to.
Or wisdom or living a meaningful life or being present or anything really useful whatsoever. It's the language of a federal statute related to criminal copyright infringement. I'm not going to go into it deeply.
I was like, I don't know that I would understand it even if you did.
Yeah, because no one cares. But I have a case, and I looked at the statute the other day, and you know how they say Beethoven went mad or something, just humming that, you know, the couple of notes in his head. So this one phrase in the statute, it just keeps circling in my head, and it can mean one of two things, one of which is good for my client, the other of which is not so good for my client.
Flip a quarter.
Yeah, and I think about it when I'm trying to go to sleep at night. You know, it's the first thing I think about when I wake up in the morning. I spent 5 hours today just.
This is Will's Roman Empire.
This is a true.
really is.
This is a true obsession.
I was just reading this, you know, this phrase over and over and over, and just thinking about the permutations and the implications and how many ways it can be interpreted or construed and like, why and why not? And I may be going crazy. Yeah.
So
I should probably do something less cerebral for my own mental health. And this case will go to trial, and eventually a judge will say what that statute means.
Well, let's hope it's in your favor.
Yeah,
That's what I'm going to pray for today.
Get on with my life at that point.
Gosh,
I love it.
that's
I love it.
Omar, what's your obsession of the week?
Yeah, I guess I'm currently obsessed with Sorry Not Sorry ice cream.
Yes, you
Gosh,
are.
man, we had it twice last week. Why is it
We?
so good? Well, okay.
We?
You didn't have it? What? You didn't have it at all?
No, I was on my liver
Oh,
cleanse.
that's right. You were in liver cleanse.
Yeah,
Sorry.
twice, Becca.
Sorry.
I was on a functional
Sorry
medicine
about
liver
that.
cleanse.
Well, it's kind of like celebratory, right? We're like, we just
Sorry,
finished.
not sorry.
Sorry, not sorry. Exactly. We had
Well
just finished-
branded.
I just finished doing like the Momentum Men's Camp,
That's right.
session 1, then doing podcast episode 1. I was like, let's go and celebrate, get some ice cream. So we get ice cream. What was that, Saturday night? And
If you guys
then-
have not had Sorry Not Sorry.
yeah, shout out to Sorry Not Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, our boy Drew opened up Sorry Not Sorry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we got it Saturday night, and then we came
Down
downtown.
here for MLK.
Oh, that was Sunday. We got Sunday, came downtown for MLK Parade,
On
and they
Monday.
just so happened to open up a new Sorry Not Sorry downtown. So we walked by it on our way to Container Park, and it was closed, which I was like, thank you, because that would have been hard to turn away from. And then we walked back. It was like 2:30,
And then it
opened
was
up at 2,
open.
and it was open. And it's like, how do you tell the kids no, they can't have ice cream on the way back from a fun like day of play?
Well, Uriah knows. Uriah knows that like Sorry Not Sorry is Omar's Achilles heel. And so it's like
Probably.
he'll ask for other ice cream and it'll be like, no, but he knows if we're passing a Sorry Not
gonna
Sorry
Yeah.
and it's a weekend, the chances are high.
Yeah, he can
So be like,
definitely pull-
Dad, it's Sorry Not Sorry.
Yeah, totally.
You gotta get your double cookies and cream.
Yeah. Speaking of Uriah, this will lead us into a nice segue into our next topic about nutrition. Uriah was making some food with you, some soup, right? This past week.
Yeah, so part of our homeschool curriculum this week was I always try to include them in the kitchen and kind of home things as well as normal curriculum. But he made a chicken and wild rice soup that
Yeah.
my mom taught me to make. And so I was teaching him. So we made a whole day, went to the grocery store. He got to pick out the produce. He had to make a list.
That's great.
And then he got to make Omar dinner. And then we had leftovers. He got to give them to grandma and grandpa.
Yeah, he was so stoked. He like
Yeah.
FaceTimed me and wanted me to show him his soup and like, look what I did, Dad. And I came home and I was like, dude, the soup is pretty bomb. And it's just so cool to see that evolution. Like, because I didn't have that as a kid, not being taught how to like go and like grab your own groceries and like which produce to pick. And, you know, you love organic fruits and veggies and what type of meat to grab to come home and then prep that all up and serve it for your family, serve it for your parents, and then like be excited and proud to serve it to the grandparents as well. He was stoked. I mean, my journey with food, I remember being in high school. I worked at In-N-Out in high school, and we ate In-N-Out every day. And I'm not talking like a double-double. I mean, this was at minimum 4x4s or 5x5s every single day. And I would open up the store and I'd put together the shake machine, right? And the shake machine had like 100 little puzzle piece parts. So I had to put all those things together, lube up all these rings, pour the milk in it, wait for it to get cold. And about an hour into it getting cold, I had to test it out. So I was like
He
the tester
had
for the
to
shake.
test it out.
And I would fill
He
up.
says that like it's such a labor, like so much labor. Like I had to test
Well, I mean, it was required to test it out. How much I tested out is a different story, right? So
it. Was that against quality
I
control?
would pour like a 12-ounce pour of strawberry shake for breakfast. Every morning I worked there. Lunch would roll around at 11 or noon, and the whoever was the manager of the day would be like, Omar, how hungry are you? And I was like, if I ever said I'm starving, it was 5x5. Grilled onions, fries,
Yeah.
and then another strawberry shake. I had terrible skin, terrible acne, like greasy, oily bumps everywhere, and I just couldn't figure it out. Here I am buying Proactive, and I'm like, why isn't this Proactive working? It's not.
I do
probably-
love In-N-Out though.
Probably
You
has
know
nothing
that.
to do with your. I mean,
Yes.
now I go to In-N-Out. We do Flying Dutchman,
Just not every
the
day.
meat patties and cheese. You know, it's.
You say cheese.
I do say cheese. I know.
Yeah.
Paul Saladino would frown upon In-N-Out's cheese.
Yeah.
It's probably as much plastic as it is
Not-
dairy.
not
I think
Yes,
you're right.
we know, but
It's
it's for the
unfortunate.
kids. You know, it's for
Oh,
the
it's for the
kids.
kids.
Fry Shake Day. We go to
That's
In-N-Out on Fridays. But anyways, my relationship with food kind of goes along those lines of nothing was off limits, really. You know, like I drank soda, Mr. Pibb, Dr. Pepper every day, hit 7-Eleven to get hot dogs that are on the rollers for who knows how long. And I would combo those with hot Cheetos and more soda. So my nutrition growing up was terrible. And then I get into the Air Force and it's really about eating as much as you could possibly eat, right? Because we had the chow hall. So it's like the food was free. So you just stack it on. It's like, how many calories can you get? It's almost like a competition on the military, It's like, you think you can eat all that? I bet you I can double what you're eating and put you to shame, So anyways, fast forward to where we are today. And I mean, my nutrition is completely different, obviously with the help of my wife and, how adamant you are about making sure we all get quality ingredients, quality products, quality produce, quality meats. I mean, now it's grass-fed, pasture-raised meats, pasture-raised eggs. Like we're on a big raw dairy kick where, we got to pick up raw milk from the plug,
Are you even allowed to talk about it?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like Fight Club. I don't think you're supposed to talk about it.
The raw milk. Can't talk about the raw milk.
Don't out your
pickup.
source.
Yeah, weed is legal, but raw milk is still illegal when you got to hit the plug up for that. Raw honey, It's crazy to think about, right?
2024 is wild.
Yeah, but it's a complete shift where we are now with food versus where we are growing up. And I think everyone has an evolution with nutrition, just as they do with their fitness.
Yeah, I think sometimes people look at nutrition as such a black and white thing. Like you either eat healthy or you don't, or food is good or it's bad. And I think that that's kind of a limiting belief for me. I was blessed that I had a stay-at-home mom and she was a phenomenal cook, but it was because my grandfather was a chef. And so that by nature kind of went down. And so we ate a lot of real food. My issue with food was really more around body image issues. I grew up watching my mom, who I thought was so stunning, battle addiction. And part of her addiction when she was trying to get sober was a lot of alcoholics will kind of turn to candy because the sugar addiction that kind of comes with that. And so when she was sober, she would turn to candy and sugar. And so that led to weight gain. And I never looked at her as though she had gained weight, but I watched her just pick herself apart like my whole life. And so then that really led to me doing a lot of restrictive eating and kind of undiagnosed eating disorders for sure, like seeing how many days I could go without eating when I was in high school. We went to an arts high school where you had to change out for theater because we had to wear uniforms. And so it was, you would change out of your normal school clothes into your theater clothes. And we were in the same hallway as the dance majors, which was really hard for me on my self-esteem because the only other girls that I saw that were my height were like the ballerinas.
Got it.
And they were a very different stature than I was. So I would definitely go without and kind of had deprived mentality around that. And then I started lifeguarding, which did not help either. And then from there, ended up being around a lot of nightlife and a lot of cocktail waitresses. And I would look at them and look at me and realize one of these things was not like the other. And so that damaged my relationship, I think, even further. And it wasn't until you and I met and started on the nutrition journey with Paul that it really changed everything for me. So we had a gentleman, Paul T, superhuman.
Yeah, shout out to Paul T. I don't know where he is. He's off the grid
He's off the
somewhere,
grid living, man. So he's probably not
man.
listening to this, but he was our first introduction to what real food looked like. And he put words to paleo before there was paleo and keto before there was keto. And Will was actually a part of that journey with us as well. That was our first real introduction of this idea that food labels were actual bullshit. And like, who knew? At the time, I didn't. If something said low sugar, low fat, I assumed that that was good. And what I've learned now is that the labels are there to mislead you. And then I learned even more as I went on my own journey with my career with having to actually create the labels for some of the brands that I worked for and going through just the process of understanding like how does something become organic or why would we call it keto? And then starting to like peel back the veil, if you will, as you start to go into grocery stores and seeing things for what they really are. And then looking at ingredients and all of the baseline work that Paul had done. And it's like, I think it's just one of those things, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once you start to see like what ingredients are really made up of or what they trick you with or.
Yeah, and that's the sad part for some people because it's like they're actually trying. It's like, okay, I'm going to try to eat better. And then they go out and like you said, they're buying the low sugar, the diet version of this.
Right now, it's like everything's keto or gluten-free. And there are things where it's like, well, that just because
doesn't even make sense.
Yeah, keto could mean chemical shitstorm, could mean seed oils, could mean all the other things. So it's been a journey, but a lot of mine wasn't so much, I think, reintroducing what foods were good for me. It was learning to read labels and whatnot, but I think I had a propensity towards, I always loved vegetables. I've always liked fruit. I've always liked, well, I was vegetarian for a little bit, but I've always liked whole foods. It was healing my relationship with food and the way I viewed myself and what that looks like from a female perspective, which I think is a different struggle than maybe like what guys go through on like trying to get bigger and whatnot. Totally. I looked at food as either a reward or a punishment. You know, I looked at fitness as a punishment. If I ate pizza, I was going to 24-hour fitness to run because I was I was a bad person. I ate a bad piece of food. I mean,
You're in trouble. Go to the gym and run the treadmill for an hour.
totally. And I think that like growing up, like that was kind of our parents at least for women, like the generation of women that raised us. It was like moment on the lips, forever on the hips. Like that was a saying nothing tastes as good as skinny feels. Like I remember hearing this stuff and like telling myself this shit, like that, like real talk. Like I thought that was like a real motivator. Like how screwed up is that? And I think now having a daughter really changed my relationship with food on like, okay, how do you present it? Like I don't do a lot of ice cream, not because I don't like ice cream, but I have an autoimmune disease and it doesn't really do great with processed sugar. But I'm really picky about making sure that our daughter also sees me eat things, because I tell all the time, regardless that I have limitations of my food because of my body, I don't want to pass down the mentality around food that I had to my daughter. It's so important, you know?
Yeah.
Becca, we were talking about the first food challenge that you did with us. It was the Paleo food
that
challenge,
was eye-opening
right?
for me. Because I kind of had the opposite in the sense that I feel like I was very blessed and very fortunate to have a mom who had a very healthy relationship with food. Never saw her pick herself apart. Shout out to Mama Beth.
Yeah. So good.
I was just talking to her about this. She's in town.
Yeah.
And I remember telling her, I'm like, I don't ever remember her picking herself apart, ever.
Oh, it's such a
Ever.
good thing.
So I feel like I never looked at food that way. Now, was I nourishing my body looking back? No, not by any means. She cooked a lot. I unfortunately never got in the kitchen with her. She's like, you were too busy. You were studying. You wanted to get A's. And so for me later on in life, it has been this whole learning to cook and learning to provide, my boys with these meals and teaching them about nutrition, because I didn't learn a lot about, still learning, I didn't learn a lot about nutrition till later on.
Yeah.
Because in college, oh my gosh, the food that I don't think I cooked a single meal. I ate out for every single meal in college. And then, fast forward to this paleo challenge. This was before I had kids too. And we did no sugar, no fruit, anything.
I still have PTSD about
that. Was like the whole life challenge.
I had the worst headache of my life. I think it was 7 days.
Yeah.
And that was the first time where I actually started turning boxes around and looking at the labels. I was a sucker for good marketing. I was like, oh, this is low fat. This has to be good for you. This is, low sugar.
That's how they get you.
I will say I never struggled a ton with my weight. In college, yes, I gained, some people gain their freshman 15. I gained the freshman 25. I really just went for it. So that was probably during that time where I really felt like, oh my gosh, I got to do something about it. I just didn't go out as much.
Yeah. That's like dieting in your 20s.
I stopped partying as much because I was in nursing school. So that helped. But so yes, this paleo challenge really it was great. It was eye-opening for me a lot. And then just over the last 10 years, I think I've just only, learned more and more about really what we're putting in our bodies, not only in our bodies, on our bodies.
Yes.
Yeah.
So kind of evolved into this whole integrative health thing, this road that I'm down, which that's a conversation for another time.
It is one of those things, like I said, that once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? Because even when you're making choices, it's like, what's in certain things. And it's like, whether it's goldfish or I don't know, like whatever. It's weird how I remember Paul had said, he's like, once you know, you can't unknow it. And you might still make those choices, but it's different when you're making the choice with the knowledge.
And you think you're doing the right. Like, I thought I was healthy. I really did. But I look back, I had horrible eczema, horrible GI issues.
Yeah.
It's crazy we don't see the symptoms though, You don't see the symptoms until they're gone. But
yeah, I was telling Aubi about that on the way here. And
Absolutely.
I was talking about like what we consume, if our body doesn't agree with it, comes out one way or another. Like it comes
you should
out
thank
of
your
our
body
skin.
for that.
Yeah, like you start to see skin rashes or whatever the case may be, eczema or red spots. And you're like, oh, what am I doing? And I was like, people go to dermatologists. And what do dermatologists do?
Cream.
They just give you some
Medication.
cream. Like, slap that on. It's going to burn for the first couple of weeks, but it'll help melt that off your face. Like that's
you may have these
industry.
other side effects.
Yeah.
But it'll get rid of the rash.
Yeah.
What about you, Will? How did your food evolve? Because I know you were with us during the Paul T introduction of real food.
He's the first guy I remember who explained that eating fat doesn't make you fat.
Yes. Wasn't that mind-bending
new
at the
concept.
time?
Yeah,
Up to that point, I was like, yeah, because that's why it says low fat.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what makes it good, is that it's low fat.
100%.
Right? Yeah. So, but, up until that point, I was eating protein shakes.
Yeah.
And like every 3 hours, I would have a protein bar. Not even like the good current version of protein bars with grass-fed beef.
Oh, yeah.
This was like
We've all
a
been
box of 12 from Costco.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like on a pallet of 400.
Yep. I know exactly
And
what you're talking about.
I would just carry those things and like because I bought into this bullshit idea that you got to keep your metabolism, you got to stoke the fire, right? You got
every couple hours.
Yeah,
you
that's
eat
right.
something. Just
And
a little
especially
something.
if you're a guy and you're trying to put on muscle, you can only absorb 30 grams of protein in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
So every 3 hours, you got to put in 30 grams.
That's right.
So I was just, I was stuffing my face with all this stuff. And I don't know if, I guess maybe I had bigger muscles, but I was just like puffy and uncomfortable and bloated.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it till I cut all that shit out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Fueled by Cliff Bars.
Totally.
What is it?
Cliff bars.
Oh yeah. I think like most things in life, what it comes down to is effort.
Mm.
Eating healthy requires effort.
Yes.
You know, you have to be selective in what you buy. And best case scenario, you prepare your own food. All that takes effort though. It's easiest to go through a drive-through. Second easiest, I guess, to buy something and heat it up. But these are just, those are varying levels of unhealthy,
Mhm.
And I read Carnivore Code. I read Paul Saladino's book.
Mm-hmm.
And he made a point that to me is just intuitively obvious. Agriculture has only been around for roughly 10,000 years. Humans have been around for 250, 300,000 years. It's only in the last 10,000 years, which is a blink of an eye evolutionarily, that we've been eating, crops that have been raised and stuff like this. And his basic premise is our digestive systems haven't evolved, haven't changed in the last 10,000 years, really, from what they were. So, genetically, we're still designed to eat the same things that hunter-gatherers ate,
Mm-hmm.
the same way that hunter-gatherers ate.
True that.
And what that means, crudely stated, is meat most of the time and only when you're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
That's the other thing. I had gotten just used to eating 3 meals a day.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first it was like
3 meals
6
and
or
snacks and
whatever.
Yeah. Every
right,
couple
right.
hours, time meals.
But it's like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Even if I wasn't hungry, I started doing some intermittent fasting. I cut out breakfast and I wasn't hungry. And when I went for a while fasting, I kind of became acquainted again with what it feels like to be hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And then I knew, this is when I'm hungry, this is when I'm not. And then I was able to kind of be in touch with myself and think, am I hungry? And if not, don't eat.
Mm.
So sometimes that means just eating like one big meal a day, around 11 or 12.
Yeah.
And in the evening, although my habit, kind of my default setting is to eat some food, it's not always because I'm hungry. Sometimes it's just, I want a little bit of comfort, you know what I mean? Or it's the habit.
Listen,
or
I'm
it's the
Greek. You don't got to
routine.
explain it to me. Food
Yeah,
is
or like-
emotion.
Or I want to procrastinate. I want to put off doing something that I should be doing.
Mhm.
So I know if I eat, I can put it off for a while. But it's just, I became very detached from my own sense of when I was hungry and when I wasn't. And like the more I've tried to realign eating with hunger,
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like all my systems are functioning a lot more properly. You know?
Yeah.
I just feel like, I don't know. There's
Your body functions as it should.
Yeah,
Food
exactly.
is fuel.
Right. And I realize that if I exercise a lot, I tend to be heavier. But on days, for example, that I don't exercise, I'm not as hungry.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't eat as much.
Mm-hmm.
I think just bringing the awareness back is such an accomplishment. I think it's something that we don't put enough focus on. Sometimes we talk about nutrition and we talk about people's relationship with food because you don't realize how emotional it is, or you really don't understand. Or if you've done like a fast, I think it's like when you start to become aware of like how much emotion is attached to food, how much ritual is attached to food, how much habit is attached to it. And so sometimes when people over the years struggle with their weight or their goals or whatnot, and they're like, I just can't get it right. I don't think they realize how much there is to unpack there because they've never gone past the point of maybe a 21-day challenge or a 30-day challenge to like really start to unpack and dissect for them individually, because everyone is so different, right? Like what their relationship looks like, what is the dynamic of which they look like, what are the habits that they've picked up, what are the rituals that they have like within their nutrition and how that plays out. Because for me, food is super emotional. Like I love cooking for my family,
Mm-hmm.
not just because of like the health benefits, but I really love sharing time around a table, breaking bread with people,
Yeah.
sharing a meal. It is that communal, tribal thing. And I also grew up like the really good times of my childhood were around a table of home cooked food that my mom made. And so for me, it's like that emotional tie. I love, like, if we're going to go out with people, I love going to dinner, not because just the dinner went out, but I just love that experience of like sharing flavors and experience and what did you like and the element that food brings. But if you don't ever go past the comfort zone of like a 21-day challenge or a 30-day challenge and really kind of get in your head a little bit about, like, am I really hungry? Am I bored? What is this feeling? What am I using food to kind of almost substitute? Because it is this like living, breathing thing in our life when the reality is food is intended to be fuel, right? And I think all the different modalities of diet can work if you're consistent, because we've done them all. I mean, we've done them almost all. We've done a lot.
For sure.
We've done paleo, macros, intermittent
Keto,
fasting,
paleo, macro, fasting, zone,
vegetarian.
I did vegetarian for a week.
Yeah, I was vegetarian for 7 years. That was enough.
Oh, that's right.
That's
I forgot
right.
about
yeah,
that.
I was vegetarian for 7 years. So that's a whole other
sorry.
episode. Yeah, I know. I'm still getting over it. My Greek family is still forgiving me, I think, for that one. But it is that self-awareness, I think, that really like clicks it over for people when we start to look at the relationship with food and not just the food. Because the reality is, like, I believe it. Like, you can lose weight on any diet if it's somewhat complete, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's more about like the habits and the rituals in your relationship that you have with it that sometimes people can't get past.
Yeah, it requires a lot of discipline. Like Will said, it requires effort.
Yes.
You know, it's not the easy route out to eat.
I just
as
think
healthy
people
as we
need to get
should.
back to eating just whole foods. I think
Yeah.
that we have their needs. It's called everyone wants to, what diet are you on? What diet? It's like,
Yeah.
just start eating
Real food.
Real food.
And that's what Paul's thing was
Real
called back
food.
in the day.
Real food.
And we did, like, it didn't click for us back then. Like,
Do you
real
remember
food. Yeah,
the
we're eating
thing
real
that's so
food.
funny is I just remember being in the conference room. We had held this nutrition seminar at my job when I was working at Red Bull at the distribution center, like in the conference room, and Paul was giving, and I remember everyone's face is like, wait, full fat dairy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
for real, like you want me to drink
Yeah.
whole full fat milk? Like you want me to go get the kind that had the cream at the top?
Yeah.
Like and butter? I'm supposed to eat butter?
And then we're going to
like,
put butter in our coffee and blend that up with coconut oil.
I remember,
That sounds
I remember
crazy.
we left and I looked at Omar. I was like, I don't
a
know
little
where you
intense.
found this guy. I don't know. And then I remember like we did that challenge with them, and it just was such a game changer. Like I remember everything starting to fire and like click over, and the amount of energy that I had. I was like, wait, this is crazy, and it's all
Yeah.
coming from real food.
He was
Yeah.
the one that he was always barefoot.
Always
everywhere, too. He was
barefoot.
always grounding.
Yeah.
And yeah.
He was onto something.
He was onto something
was onto
back
something.
then, 12 years ago.
Paul's a trendsetter, dude.
Yeah, he was.
He's off the grid now. He can't hear us, but
Paul, if you're out there.
he is him and his pup.
I remember he liked the linerless workout shorts.
There's a reason why. See?
Polyester.
Man, he was onto something.
That dude was straight up natural.
Yeah,
in
he was.
Every way.
Every way. What
His
a
whip
G, man. I looked
deodorant,
up to him.
dude.
I still look up to him.
Yeah, me too.
So before we close today's episode, we got to finish with a little gratitude, y'all. So we're going to go around the table, give 3 things you're grateful for.
Start with them.
We'll start with you guys. Becca, what you got? What you grateful for? 3 things you're grateful for.
Well, first and foremost, you guys.
Hey.
You guys.
Thank you.
In the community you've created. Thank you.
Yeah.
My health and my family.
Yeah. I love it.
I love your health and your family too.
What you got, Will? What you grateful for?
I'll start. There's this Ricky Gervais has a show called Afterlife, and the character he plays at one point talks about happiness, and he says, you know, happiness is so good that it doesn't even have to be your happiness to enjoy it.
That's good.
You know, and
It hits.
I look at you guys, you know, and what you're doing, and I see you being happy, and I enjoy it. You know, so I was thinking about this because I knew we were going to be asked something like this. And I remember before my wife and I had kids, we, you know, like I had some disposable income. So I had like a fancy car and fancy clothes, and, you know, and ate at expensive restaurants and stuff. And, you know, we traveled. Like nothing blew my mind. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
none of that moved the needle. And the world just seemed to didn't seem to be like as bright or as wondrous. And I thought, you know, with kids, you get to everything is new and amazing and fantastic.
Yeah.
And so you kind of get to see the world for the first time through their eyes.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so I was thinking, there's a couple new people at the gym. New people come in and they're a little bit uneasy, a little bit self-conscious and stuff, not very strong, not very good at the exercises and stuff. And then you watch them evolve over time, and then like the girls start getting the tighter yoga workout stuff. You know what I mean?
The shirt
fashion
that's
kind of
right.
changes.
The shirt comes off.
That's right. They start losing some fat and gaining some muscle. You know what I mean?
Confidence.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the and the guys start maybe wearing a sleeveless shirt or something. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And, but you get to see them evolve. And grow into just like a better version of themselves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm kind
Totally.
of a ways down that road.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get a lot better, than I am right now. But
Yeah.
these people, man, they are making dramatic changes.
And you
for
get to
the
see them
better.
discovering what
Yeah.
they're capable of. And it's
Totally.
that part is, I don't care how long we do this, that part for me never gets old. It never gets old. It never gets old when you see that moment that it clicks over for them. And it could be as simple as everyone makes fun of CrossFitters for taking their shirt off. But if you have never taken your shirt off during a workout, you don't understand how intimidating that can be when that's the norm in your gym. And it's it could be that moment, right? That moment they take their shirt off because it's hot as shit. They're finally
Or because the AC is broken.
yeah.
but that moment
that.
though, you know what I mean? That moment when it clicks over for them, it's for me, that never gets old because I remember getting to see you guys go through that moment when I went through that moment. And it kind of brings you back to being like they just discovered themselves and they're just at the tip of what they're capable of. And I get to witness the rest of the journey. That part is so cool.
The downside is that the guys inevitably get bigger and faster and stronger than me. So, whereas before I was encouraging them, now.
You got this, kid.
Yeah, now they're way ahead of me and they're lifting more weight than me,
They're
but
helping you unload the bar.
You're that's enough. That's
it's
enough.
Cleaning up your equipment.
I don't want to partner with them on the workouts, look for someone with a bad knee or a bad shoulder or something. But
That's hilarious.
But good for them, So that's a long way to say I'm grateful I have a place to come and watch people, become them best selves, and just grow into their potential and stuff. And I know that permeates and radiates out into other aspects of their lives. I'm sure these people are a little more patient, a little more considerate. With their family members, are probably a little bit more productive at work.
Yeah.
It's just the ripple effect, was just wonderful. And, and I'm just glad that, I get to witness that sort of thing. You know what I mean? And play a small little role.
Totally.
I try to be welcoming, especially welcoming to new people come in because I want them to have what I have. You know what I mean? I want to pay it forward. It's because it's not just good for them, it's good for me.
Mhm.
I'm glad I'm a part of, of a place that foster and encourage that sort of growth. I'm glad I'm healthy.
Yeah.
My wife tells me I'm 50, so I have to get a colonoscopy. So I'm not looking forward to that.
You'll be okay.
It'll be all right.
You'll be
But,
okay.
for all I know, I'm very healthy, especially for my age.
Yeah.
I bet.
Will's a beast. He's undermining.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Well,
It's all genetic, guys. You guys are just lucky to be blessed with those genes.
don't
you
even
just
get
love when
hurt.
people say that?
Heard that quite a few times.
I'll get so upset over that.
they say, if everyone wrote their problems down and put them on a piece of paper and threw them in the middle of the room, you'd be scrambling to get your problems back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
True.
look, the problems that I have are gold-plated problems.
Yeah, for
Mm,
sure.
Good way to
Like,
put it.
Yeah, so I'm just blessed for all of the lucky things that are responsible for me being in the position I am right now. And I really think it's luck. It's just luck,
Mm.
so I'm glad I'm lucky.
Yeah. We're lucky
Love
to
it.
have you, dude.
Go ahead, boo.
My 3 this week. I'm going to go with my health as well. I've just feel like I've been, and sometimes you just feel like you're hearing stories left and right of people that just get unfortunate news and whatnot. It's nothing that's been directly in our circle, but I think sometimes so often we take for granted our health. We were getting the kids health donuts. We were getting kids donuts this morning, and we witnessed just this moment where this old man was outside, and it looked like his daughter had to pull the car up to help him off the curb. And I just had this moment of sitting and watching him and looking at my kids and having this reflective moment, right? I'm sitting in the shop with my kids. I'm looking out the window, seeing this daughter put her dad in the car. And I just thought, in a moment, I'm going to blink. And if I'm lucky, my kids will be loading me into a car like that with so much love and so much tenderness and so much care. You know, like just the patience that she had.
Yeah,
she
she
like
did.
slowly opened the door, and it took him 5 minutes.
It took him some time. I was gonna go out and help him. Actually, I was like, "You need a little hand." It's okay. He was just taking his time.
And it reminded me of my grandma and when what an ordeal it would be to take her out to dinner and then to take her to the bathroom or something like that, you know. But I just had this moment of like real gratitude of that, like, I'm healthy enough at this age that I can look at that just in general, my health. I would also say our members, I was sitting again, kind of in a reflective moment this morning after the Saturday workout, and it's just packed, right? And it's one of those, we're lifting barbells and everyone's being so considerate about just making sure they're in their area. But it was just such a cool feeling to sit back and just to know, like, man, everybody is here suffering together, and just taking a moment to kind of, I think, look at what we've created and the space that we've created to allow that to happen was really cool. And then lastly, I'm going to say Omar again. You have really just pushed me. I feel like in this last 6 months in general, just really outside of my comfort zone. You're challenging me to do cold plunges on days that I don't even want to because we're weirdly competitive. And now we got a streak going.
Now we got the streak going.
Now we've got that obsession. But I'm just so thankful for your leadership and your vision.
Thank you,
I'm thankful for just to see what you're doing, the momentum and the stuff at the gym, and just really pushing us outside of our comfort zone. I'll never get enough of that. So thank you.
I love that. Thank you, boo. I love you.
I love you.
I'm grateful for home cooked meals. You were talking about that earlier. I love home cooked meals. You tear it up in the kitchen. You know,
I take that as a compliment because O's mom is bomb chef. So
she'd be throwing on the steaks on the cast iron grill with butter, and you know, if
All
I'm
that
doing
real
carnivore
food.
and she wants to just do fruit for me, I'm like, okay, she like tailors to my needs, and I'm grateful for that, to just sit down again. Like I think I said that. Did I say that last week?
Probably.
To sit down at the table and just break bread with my family. I love that. I'm grateful for conversations. You know, just to be able to sit here and, like you said, we don't get face-to-face conversation and interactions anymore. You know, like you were saying, people barely want to talk on the phone anymore because it feels a little too close. So like we
I love
message and we
talking on the
text,
phone.
and
You can call me whenever.
probably different
Love
for
talking
women.
on
I
the
think you guys both love talking on the phone, but
We
you know,
like
just
to
to have
talk.
a face-to-face
I'm like, you can call me
conversation.
anytime.
Even in this setting, it's like, all right, this, you know, a little nerve-wracking, but like we're here and we're discussing some topics that you know, go deeper than just the surface. And then I'm grateful for some legacy members. You know, some people have been riding with us for 11, 12 years, man. Like all the different phases that we've gone through in this business, you know, the ups
supporting
and downs
us like
and,
when we've made mistakes and when we've stubbed our toe, because this is definitely an imperfect practice for sure.
yeah. So with you guys being legacy members, we want to present you guys with something here. That's for you.
Before we get into the gifts, I forgot my 9-year-old is probably going to watch this. So I should say the thing I'm most thankful for in the world is probably Nora.
Oh, we love Nora.
We love
She's the bomb.
Nora helped break us all in
Check
as
those
parents
out,
at the
guys.
gym.
Am I supposed to open this? No?
Yeah,
Yeah,
open
open
that
it
up. Open that up. So we want to present you guys with our first
sweet.
ever Hall of Fame trophies. Will Brown, Becca Margison, and we've got trophies for our other legacy members as well. But
We have 3
That
other
makes-
inductees
That makes
as
these
well.
a little less special. But okay.
yeah, thank you guys again. Great. We're
sweet.
both grateful, beyond
Thank
grateful
you.
for you guys. Hold them up, let people see. Let the people see. Look at that. Yeah. Had those made
Our
for
first
ya.
inductees to
I
the
got a
Social
trophy.
Let me see
City
this
Hall of
guy.
Fame.
Social City
I've
Hall
had
of
a tro-
Fame presents
I've had
to
a
Will
trophy in a
Brown,
while.
Becca Margison for outstanding commitment, dedication, and hard work. This is January 2024. FFUKW, Fit Force, you know, woo.
Also, we want to give a shout out to John Forsyth, Matt Nealon, and Kat T.
And Catty Gonzalez, Cat Ninja.
They have all been with us as well for over a decade, and so they are also receiving Hall of Fame trophies.
It's great.
We're just so thankful for you guys riding with us throughout the seasons and many more to come.
Yeah, big thank you.
I need to get a chain that I can put this on.
Yeah, you do.
This thing's sharp.
So that wraps up our episode 2.
Hey.
Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Check us out. Subscribe to our YouTube. We're on Spotify and Apple. Wrap it up for us, boo.
Just know that you're made with a purpose, on purpose, and we're thankful that you spend your time with us. Fit Force, you know.
Fit Force, you know, woo.
Whoop.
Peace out.
Bye.